used to do like heaps of stuff, so I really loved that. I used to walk to school mostly because I didn't live really far from the school. We used to learn, so after primary school, so I don't know if it's the same here, when you're in primary school in France, although it's changing now, and that was like a long time ago for me, but you have one teacher, and then when you go to what we call collège, which is when you're 13, then you have a teacher per subject. Collège. And then after you go to lycée. And so we had music classes, we were playing flute, and then we had history.
What language did you learn?
My first language that I learned was English. Did you say French?
No.
I learned French.
French.
Well, I started with French actually, and the first language I had the choice between English and German, and my pick was English. I so wanted to speak English that before, in my last year of primary school, I was walking down the street with my girlfriend and we were pretending to speak English.
How do you pretend to say
I don't know if anybody believed we were English, but that's actually what we're doing. So as soon as I had the occasion, I'm like, yeah, I want to learn English. And then as the second language, I could choose Spanish or German. Because I was half Italian, I picked Spanish because I thought that's closer to what I have. But so a lot of my family, also in France, come from Angers. And my cousins who grew up there actually didn't have the opportunity to learn Spanish, but they had the opportunity to learn Italian. So it's not always the same languages everywhere. But if you pick German as your first language, you have no choice as your second language, you must pick English. I had somebody there first at the front put their hand up. No? Back then? All right, over there.
Well, how you said that you didn't know differences. It's pretty much the same as French, but we have to go to Wednesday, we get Saturday, Sunday off. And
Yeah, so we get that when we go
and we get like a month.
up. You get a lot of what?
We don't get Wednesday off, we get Sunday.
Saturday off. Yeah. So when we're in smaller, like in the lower classes, we get the Wednesday off. I think probably because it cuts the week, like it's a big week for
We
kids.
did in prep, that was about it.
Yeah, okay.
First year,
Yeah,
that it.
yeah. I think up to primary we got the Wednesday off, and then after when we go to college, we get half the Wednesday and half the Saturday off. Hold on.
Wait, what would you pretend to say in English? Like, what would you give us a screenshot?
Of what?
What you would pretend to say in English.
She probably had no idea.
You're probably like, oh, blah, blah, blah.
I just did. I just did. It sounded like. Sorry, that's what I thought English sounded like back then. I'm sure you heard me the first time. You just wanted you to do it again.
Do you have any siblings?
No. Well, I can't go into too much detail.
I cut off the head.
Brothers and sisters?
Do you have any half siblings? Like half brothers?
Do you want me to ask a different question?
Maybe. Maybe.
Just move along.
Okay. What did you do when you finished school?
So what do you call finish school?
College?
You guys are going to sit here in a minute.
Oh, it's fun back here.
So we've got primary school up until 11, 12, and then we go to college from 12, 13 to 15, 16.
Oh, okay.
And then we go to lycée,
Okay.
which is from 15 to 18. And then you can go to university. What I did is that I did there's no translation, it's called DUT. And it's, because I didn't really want to go to school. Well, I wanted to have my options open to go to school or not. And so I did a 2 years formation, and after that I went into another 2 years, which was what we call alternance. And I don't know if you guys have that here, but it's when you study and you work at the same time, but it's it doesn't have to be a trade. So we've got that with manual work. But I was studying, so I did a master in business and management, which I did 2 weeks at school, 2 weeks at work, 2 weeks at school, 2 weeks at work. And then after that, I wanted to do what we call a DSS. You don't have an equivalent for that, so I just, on my CV, it's like a specialized master, I call it. Really cool master. And in marketing, and I applied, and I didn't get taken anywhere. So I went and I worked for a year in procurement. And then I applied again, and this time I got through and I studied my marketing.
How old were you when you moved to Australia?
27. 26, 27.
Did
Yeah.
you move for work or just because?
It's another story that maybe I don't.
No, but you definitely understand.
Oh, you stop asking questions there.
I will answer your question. I will go there.
When was it easiest to learn English? Like, was it once you came here, or did you learn a lot at school?
I think that it's like everything. When you love it, you'll be good at it. You won't feel like you're learning it. So some people are really good in math because they love it. I've always been pretty bad at it because I don't like it. I loved English so much. I just, the first day I grabbed the book and I was already reading it. I didn't understand half of it. I remember my first English lesson. What's this? Is this a cat? No, it's a fish. What's this? Is this a dog? No, it's a table. That's how we learn English and French. With these very exaggerated voices. So I didn't find it difficult because I loved it. All my irregular verbs, I was just practicing. I loved it. I was reading in English as soon as I could, more than I was reading in French. So I didn't find it difficult. Other people are like, oh my God, English, this is so hard. Probably because they didn't maybe like it as much. So it was hard. So why did I come to Australia? For love, of course, I'm French. What do you expect, I came backpacking. I met a guy. And then I went back to France. And then I came back to be with him. And my life was hell for 3 years.
Yeah.
And now I'm with another guy. Yay!
Did you say, yeah?
Hang on, I think we misunderstood what she said then. She said her life was hell for 3 years. Alright, so we don't clap that. We go, oh!
I think she said it so enthusiastically,
Yeah.
smile, that we didn't know what to think.
So Natalie, we're going to come to an end, but if there's one thing you want to tell this mob of young people as a bit of an encouragement, what would that be? And you can say it in English first, and then you're going to say it in French.
Encouragement for what?
Just about life, how do we embrace life? You said there when you came to Australia, met a guy that was hell, then met another chap, and that's
heaven.
That's heaven. So, is there something you would like to say to these guys that like to encourage them in anything that they think could be good for life? In English first, then in French. Oh, do you want to do it in French first?
Yeah.
All right. French and then English.
Okay,
All
so
right.
hold on, because I need to think in how I'm going to say. I don't know if I know how to say it in French. Hold on.
Just say thank you for the cheese, thank you for the fromage.
Well, I haven't had the cheese yet, so we wait for that. Now, what I'm going to tell you in English actually, because it's a little bit easier, but it's something that I've learned through my study, but also reflecting back on my life, I realized how true it was, is that when you really want something, don't wonder about how you're going to get it, just want it, and then work at getting it, because we say if you've got a big enough why, the how will take care of itself. It's not easy to get a visa to work in Australia, but I wanted it. I wanted to stay there, actually not even for the guy. I've already decided I love Melbourne. I love Melbourne. And I said I want to stay here, and I'm going to stay. And I went through really hoops and everything. If you want something, don't let anything stop you. Don't let anything stop you, because why? Like, what else do you have to do while you're here? I mean, what else do you have to do while you're here? Do you think you were on this planet born just to sit and do nothing and wait for life to pass you by? I don't think so.
Well, some people say that you can't reach your dreams because they're too big.
Who said that?
Well, I said that I wanted to be an actress when I grew up,
Yeah.
and everyone says acting's a hobby.
not a career.
So who's everyone?
Oh, you know, for
My mum,
the famous
my dad, my teachers, my careers advisor at school.
And so what do you think they would say to Chris Hemsworth? Like when he wanted to be an actor?
Take his shirt off.
And they would say, "Meow."
That's not a good advice.
Well, what I said is if I work
It's a
at
bit
it,
delicious.
I do theatre outside of school now. I do fresh third place theatre at Carolina Theatre.
We did the Bayswater Fresh.
Yeah, I went there 2 years last year.
Come on,
So
back.
I perform at Carolina Theatre every year now, once a year, and I act. Acting is like my life. I performed a show with mild chickenpox. I was that dedicated to it, and everyone says you can't make it, and I say, well, if I work hard enough, maybe I can.
Good job. Right, we're going to come back and ask Natalie's going to hang around. Something in French. Just say something. Philip is
Qu'est-ce que vous
magnificent.
voulez que je vous dise? Moi, je peux pas venir comme ça avec quelque chose. Hein?
Oui.
Ah, so what do you want me to say? I can come up with something on top of my head in French.
I'll come up with something in French. Now, the vanilla ice cream. Now, the
Vanille?
vanille.
Glace à la vanille.
What is it?
Glace à la vanille.
Glace à la vanille.
That's so cute.
I got cute from a French. Nice. Guys, you're going to hang around for a little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can ask Natalie some questions or just give her some hugging, whatever. If you have not put your name down on the bowl,